Welcome back. So I hope collection basics video was good for you, right? So today is second day in the collection. So it's like a crash course. So we will not go in so much depth. Okay. So but whatever after this course you will be in very good position. At least you can do the coding. Okay. Means at least means most of the coding you will able to do. If you will practice, then you will do all the codings. But the concept will be covered here. So today in the day two, what I'm going to cover, I'm going to cover array list. Okay, I hope you followed my previous video, and in the previous video I already explained you a lot of things. Like collection means you have to learn list and map. In the list, the first thing you have to learn is the array list, and array list is nothing but a class. Okay, array list is nothing but a class. Whether the list is an interface, that you should at least understand. Okay, fine, come here and let's start discussion. So ArrayList is like a YouTube channel. Why I'm telling so? In YouTube channel, duplicate videos you can put, right? Same video you can put, right? Video insertion order is preserved. Means whatever the video you are putting on your YouTube, maybe if you uploaded videos on YouTube, then you know. Whatever the order you are putting the video in the same order, the video go there. You may not have any video on the channel. Okay, it is also possible. Means you have a YouTube channel, but the chances are you don't have any video over there. So okay, that's called null is allowed. Okay, so in array list, duplicates are allowed. Duplicates are allowed. Okay, it's a collection. Array list is nothing but a collection. Insertion order is preserved. Insertion order is preserved. Fine. Third one, you may not have any video in YouTube channel, means null is also allowed. Null is also allowed. That's 3 points is very important in order to start the array list. So using array list before generics, okay, I'm telling you the case before generics, when generics was not there. Okay, when generics was not there means the that moment of time we use array list. Okay, how we use array list that moment of time? So that moment of time we use array list using, let's say, this syntax: array list al equals to new array list. This is the way you used to create array list before generics. And let's say you want to add some element. Let's say you want to add some elements, so array list dot add, and let's say 10. You want to add 10 like this. Okay, so this is the way we used to do array list. If you want to print that, then system.out print ln. Okay, and array list. This is the way you used to print array list before that. In same way, if you want to add something else, let's say you want to add, let's say, in the array list you can add number, you can add strings. Let's say if you want to add, let's say, Sanjit, let's say like this. So this way you can add, and if you print, it will print the thing. So before doing so, let me immediately show you in Eclipse IDE. I hope you, everybody of you, have the Eclipse IDE, Eclipse Enterprise Edition. You have to download. You should download Eclipse Enterprise Edition. You should do that first of all. Okay, fine. Now let me change my workspace. Okay, so when you download and install the Eclipse and you will try to open, the Eclipse will open like this. Eclipse can have multiple versions, like it generally start with H and end with P. H for Helios, let's I for Indigo, J for Juno, K for Kepler, L for Luna. There is M for Mars, I think N is for Neon, O for Oxygen, and P for Photon. So if you are using, let's say, Mars, okay, so it generally supports JDK7. But if you are using Oxygen, Neon, and Photon, these Eclipse will use JDK8. Okay, so let's say you downloaded something called Mars, and you let's say, so it will only support JDK7. It will come with JDK7. Rather, it will, if you are downloading, let's say, Neon, Oxygen, or Photon, it will support JDK8. So if you want to do coding in this way, you should go for let's say Oxygen or Photon like this. Okay, it's fine. But right now, our purpose is here to see how this array list will work. Go to the file, go to the new, go to the project and create a project. Let's say YouTube, and let's say I'm going to give a name of collection. Okay, collections. and okay, fine, what I'm typing over here, we have to select Java project first, sorry. Then you have to give the project name, and here is a JDK. You can change it as per your project. If you want 1.7, go for 1.7, and this is a default one, JDK, in my system. It could be any number, don't worry for that, and hit finish. It will create a project, collections, go to SRC, hit new, and hit here package. Let's say com.eacademy is the name of the package. Hit finish and right click new class. Let's say what I'm going to create, I'm going to create a class called test1 with main method. Let's see how this array list will work. Okay, so here we have the array list. So let's quickly create one array list. Okay, let's say al equals to new array list, new array list. Okay, now you can see it's giving me some error. Okay, why it's giving some error, just how to fix, just press control space and it will show you what are the packages you can import. So it will show you. Okay, or otherwise you can also press Control O. When you press Control O, it will import the packages which you required. Okay, so either you can press Control A, Control O, or even Control 1. If you press Control 1, it can give you the hints. Let's say I'm importing. So if you're importing this, now error is gone. Now let's say I'm going to add, let's say array list dot add method, you can see, and I'm typing 10. Array list dot add, let's say I'm typing Sanjit. Okay, let's say array list dot add, and let's say I'm typing, let's say Ajay, something like this. Fine. Now in order to print, what I will do, system.out.println array list. Let's see what it will happen, what kind of output we will get. So you can see 10 Sanjit Ajay I am getting, means the order I inserted, the order is preserved. That's the thing I told. Now my question is, will it also work? Let's say, let me take another example. Let me create one a separate class. Let's say I have a class, let's say student is a class. Okay, now same example which I explained while explaining, student is a class. Let me close this, and in student class what I'm going to do, I am having, let's say, student ID as an property, student name, and I'm going to have, let's say these two things. So I have to create constructor, right? So generate constructor, you can write the constructor or even you can generate, just press alt shift s and o, so it will generate constructor for you, and hit ok. So the constructor is generated. Fine. So this class is ready. I just generated one constructor, that's it. Now I'm going to create another class. Let's say this class name is employee. Okay, let's say emp is another class. I hit finish. Employee class also have few things. Let's say employee id, and let's say I have string name. Okay, employee name. Similar way I need to generate constructor, so let me generate constructor. Hit ok. Constructor is generated. Okay, so if you don't want to generate, you can type the constructor. You know, right, how to type the constructor. This is a very basic of the Java. Okay, so these two classes are ready. Now I'm going to write one third class, let's say test class, and this class will have the main method. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, my plan is, what is my plan? I have two classes, right? I have one student class, and I have one student class, and I have one employee class. What I'm planning to do, I am planning to create one array list, and in this array list, I want to hold this object and this object. Okay, means I want to hold this object here and this object here to my array list. Okay, so let me quickly create one array list. See what kind of challenges we will face. So let me quickly create an array list. Array list al. Okay, just press control 1. Okay, it will give you suggestion. If not giving, you can just like this. So array list al equals to new array list. Okay, at the end of the day you just need to sure it's importing the ArrayList package, or even you can simply import java.util.star. It will all import everything for you. Okay, fine, ArrayList is ready. Now see the issue. al.add. Okay, I'm going to add some object, right? This is ArrayList where I have to add the object, right? Everything is object I told in ArrayList, so this object I have to add. How to represent the object of student class? New student, right? If I am writing new student, and let's say I already created the student class like this, you can see new student. Okay, the constructor is like this, means if the constructor is parameterized, then you have to create the object with parameter, right? That's a basic thing we know. So if I'm writing new student, and let's say I'm passing something called, let's say, new student 1 and new student 1, and let's say her name is Susie. Okay, fine. So if I'm typing this, what will happen? This object will be created from the student class, and here in this object we have two boxes, right? There are two boxes, one is student id, one is student name. So this box student id will be filled with 1, okay, and this box will filled with Susie. That's the basic thing we know, right? So what I have to do, I have to pass this object. The initially what we have to do, we were writing al dot add, and we are simply writing, let's say, Sanjit. So what is Sanjit is passed, right? Means inside the array list there is something called Sanjit. But I told array list everything is object, so that is Sanjit object. But right now we are not passing any string, we are passing the direct object. Okay, so let's pass that object. So just go to the test class, and here I'm going to pass new emp, sorry, student, and her name is one Susie. Fine. So I passed one object. Okay. Let me pass second object. Second object will be employee object. So new employee emp, and let me pass one comma. Let's say Nirmala. Okay. I passed two objects to the array list. Let's see what will happen. Means what happens? These two objects are here. Okay. If you try to print the array list, what it will print? If it is a string, it will print the value. But if it is an object, it will not print the value. It will even print the hash code, because each object have some hash code which is uniquely identify that object. Each object has some hash code to uniquely identify themselves, right? So this hash code will be printed. So if I will go here and I will do sys out array list, and if I will run this code, you will see, you can see, rather than giving me the object information, it's giving me the hash code of the objects. So how to fetch the object? This picture you should remember. If object is inside this, if object is this, if you try to read it simply by system out println, it will read its exterior hash code. It will not read the internal data inside the object. So in order to resolve such issue, a concept of generic came. Generic came. How the generic will help? So before generic, let me show you. If still generic is not there, I can find the things. How I will do that? This line definitely not going to work. If I will print, it will only print the hash code. So one thing you should understand, when you printing the thing, actually you are going is it's when you are trying to print the things, this array list is returning object. So what you have to do, you have to try to read the data from the object. Okay, that you should know how to do that. So let's say I'm writing a for each loop. So for each element in the array list, how to read this is very important. Okay, how to read this particular for each loop? For each element present inside the array list, I am going to run. Okay, for each element present inside the array list, means for each object present inside the array list, I am taking one variable o. Okay, and with the help of this variable, I am going to print the data. So right now what I will write, o dot, and here is the thing. Okay, so let's say if you want to print the data, let's say you can print o dot, let's say. So here right now you can see I'm not getting something option of student, right? Why I'm not getting something an option of student? Because the return type what I'm getting is nothing but an object, not student. So this code is not going to work, because if you can see, if you observe, if I'm typing o dot, so it will show eid, sid, nothing it's showing, right? So the object, right, it's going to return object. But the question is, this object is which kind of object, right? This is a employee object, student object, what? So that you need to do here, that you need to typecast here, right? So how we will do that? I'm going to put if else condition. Let's say if the object which you are returning, let's say let me take the variable, let's say obj, so you will have a better understanding. Obj, okay. So whatever the object you are returning, whatever object you are returning, if it is an instance of emp, okay, if it is an instance of emp class, then do typecasting. Means how to do typecasting? Means see, what is this obj? They are returning, this is, if I am writing this code, it will return the first object. This will return the first object, which is student object, but I have to typecast it. How to typecast it? Let's say if it is a, let's say it's returning emp or student. Let's say first let me talk about student, so you will have understanding. Student student, so it's going to return an object. I'm typecasting it to the student, and because I don't want it should return at like obj object, it should return at student, it should return like student, okay. So I'm typecasting it to the student, and here I'm storing it student. Let's say I'm pointing it with the s variable, okay. So what I did actually, it's returning an object, okay. This is nothing but an object type, still it's not student type. So when I added something called student in front of that, it will become an student object, not the object type of object. Also, I created one variable. Let's say this object have some address 45545 like something. I created one variable. Let's say I created one variable s, okay, s, and this s will hold this particular object reference. Now, with the help of this s, I am going to read this information. Now it will show. So what I will do, I am going to type system.out.println. Now you can see s dot. Now you can see sid is showing. Okay. Now if I am writing s dot, s name, so it will show. Let me first print for student only. So right now you can see I am getting the student data. Same way you can write for your particular employee. So whether writing, I'm just copy pasting the code, but this is the way we write nowadays. We are not doing the programming. We used to do this kind of programming before 1.5, okay. From now onward we are not doing same. So I'm taking employee, again typecasting the object to the employee object and storing to the employee object, and let me take e, and here let me take e dot eid, and let me take here e dot ename. That's it, and just let me print it. So you can see I'm getting both the outputs, but this is not the correct way, and this is very much time consuming. I hope you understand. It's taking a lot of time. So nowadays we are not doing the coding like this. We are using generic concepts. So this is without generics, okay. Let me do the same code with generics, right? So how the generics will work? So this, if you are not saying anything, the return type is object, which you are typecasting to the student, right? Different places. So how I will do that? With the help of generics, let me let me take a different class, okay. Let me take test3 and main method. I am doing the same thing with the help of generics now, okay. Without generics, I hope you understand how difficult it is. So right now what we have two classes, one is employee, one is student, and I'm going to put them in an array list. So how to create array list in generics? So the command is means the syntax will be little bit change. It will be array list, and let's say I want to create an array list of, let's say, employee, so it will only hold the employee data. If I will create the array list of student, it will only hold the student data. So let me first show you, let's say how to do that. Let's say if I am writing student, what will happen? Control space or press control o, it will do the things for you. Okay. Okay. Now array list al equals to new array list. So we have created one array list. Now what is mean by this student? What is mean by this student? If I am writing like this, what is the mean by this? Let me come here. What is mean by this? If I am writing this, this means you are going to create one array list. You are going to create this array list, and this array list is going to hold only student type of object. Even emp string, nothing is allowed, only student type of object is allowed. Okay, so how it will resolve your life? Okay, so let's say I am going to al dot add, and I am going to add, let's say, new student. Let's say, let me add this time one, and let me add Sanjit, one student. Okay, al dot add new student, and let me add two, let's say Rohit. Okay, so I added two objects. Okay, now what I have to do, I just want to print. Right now I have two objects, Sanjit and Rohit. I have to print this. Okay, so how I will print that? I will run a for each loop. So for all the array list al, for each element in the array list. Okay, and which kind of element present in the array list? This array list having student kind of element, right? Student, here we write the data type. Okay, so student class is a data type of that object, right? So student type of element we have, let's say s. I'm going to print it sys out, and here you have to write s dot see sid. See how easy it is right now. We don't need to write anything. S dot s name dot s name. And if I will run this time, you will see I am getting output 1 Sanjit 2 Rohit. So if you write this here, no typecasting is required, because it's going to return the objects, it's returning the object is only student type. Okay, I hope you understand. So if but the drawback is in this array list only student object reside. If you want to put employee, it's not possible. So what kind of array list you have to prepare? You have to prepare an array list of object. So let's say, in order to do so, you have to prepare an array list of object. If you preparing an array list of object, means it's easily allowed. Means if you are preparing an array list of object, let's say, and you are adding first student, and also you can add, let's say, new employee as well. New employee as well. Let's say I'm typing 111, let's say Sumit something. Now you can easily add, because this is a object means it can have means it can have different type of object. Okay, object class will have different kind of object. Now how to print? Now I'm going to print, right? So for each element present in the array list, for each element present in the array list of object type, I'm taking one variable o, and I'm going to, let's say, what will happen, just think again. If I will write o dot, again nothing come, right? Again nothing is coming, because since it's an object type of array list, so it will not return any student. Okay, it will return object, and again you have to do typecasting. That's the thing you have to do. So if it is returning, then what you have to do, you have to typecast the thing. Let's say it's returning one object. Let's say, let me type here obj. So it's returning one obj. It's returning one obj. That obj you have to typecast again. That typecasting should be there. Let's say, what will be the problem if I will type print obj only? What it will do, you will again get the hash code, right? So just think, you just imagine the things will be so much clear like water for you. So again you have to write if instance of like this kind of thing. So this is the one way. Okay, again you have to write, but again, so what is the benefit of using like, let's say, employee array list or student array list? Means the benefit is here. Let's say what I'm going to do, let's say this is a array list, but before that let me show you with object only. So with object, how to do that? with object, you have to write if whatever the object you are returning is instance, it's a instance of instance of let's say student. If it is an instance of student, then what you have to do, typecast it student, typecast in the student, okay, that particular obj, okay. And after typecasting, print with the help of s dot, let's say sid, and print s dot, let's say name. That's it. Again you have to write for employee the same code. If it is an instance of let's say emp, then what you have to do, everywhere you should replace emp, okay. And here it will be e dot, let me take a variable, let's say e. So e dot eid, e dot ename, okay. So this way if you try to print, you can see it will print all the things. So I hope you understand. You should only remember one point. If you are storing object, it will return by default object, okay. If you define let's say student, so it will only store student, return student, okay. If you don't define anything, if you don't write generics, it will store let's say as object, then you have to typecast. That's it. So this is the one thing, that's a very important thing. Let me file close all. Let me give you some more example on iterator cursor, okay. So what we are going to discuss, I hope this part is clear, okay. This part is clear. So what I'm going to do, iterator cursor, this example is very important. So iterator cursor is a cursor. With the help of that, what you can do, you can read the data, write the data, everything you can do, okay. So iterator cursor is also called universal cursor, okay. This, let me take it here, okay. Okay, this is called universal cursor, okay, because it's valid for all the classes. So that's why rather than learning multiple cursor, learn at least one cursor. So that's called iterator cursor, okay. That's fine. Iterator cursor has three methods. It has three methods, okay. It has three methods. So what are the name of the method? The first method is called has next, okay. So has next method will check if the data is available or not, okay, in the list or array list. Second one is next method. It will move the pointer from one place to other place, okay, or it will to return the data or to read the data, okay. And there is something called remove method. It removes the object also. It removes the object. So con- you should know this next method is a method which returns object. If return type is known, guys, there is no issue. So let me take an example so you will understand it properly. This time I am not going to take some hard example, maybe because whatever the example I taken, it could be hard for you this moment of time, but I am sure this example you will definitely understand. So let me take an example, let's say test 2, okay. So public static void main. This time I am going to take only string data, so it will easy for you to understand, okay. Now I'm going to create an array list, okay. And this array list I'm going to create of strings. Means it, what is the meaning of strings? It will only take the string in the array list, okay. Equals to new array list, array list, okay. And here you have to write string, fine. It's ready, it will be string, okay. Let me quickly add few users in the array list dot add. Let me use Sanjit, okay. Let me use Susi, let me use Nirmala, let me use Ravi. So I added four users in the array list. If you want to print, how you will print? Al dot sysout, al dot simple al, right? If you write, you can see you will get the output. But how to print it using cursor? That's the one way. Using cursor also you can print. How to print? You have to write array list. If you write iterator method in the array list, what it will do? In the array list, we have a iterator method. So using this iterator method, you will read the data. So, but the thing is, this iterator method returns a data of, means its return type is iterator. So its return type is iterator. So I am going to catch it iterator. Let's say itr. Okay. So its return type is iterator, and here just press Control space and hit this one. Okay. So iterator is there. You can make generic iterator as well and normal iterator. So I am just making normal iterator. So iterator itr equal to al dot iterator. What is mean by this? Array list have a method called iterator, and this iterator method return type is iterator. Okay, that's fine. Now using this iterator cursor, iterator is nothing but like a cursor. Okay, using this iterator cursor you can read the data. So by default this cursor is pointing to this location. You have to move this cursor here. So this is called has next, is having something or not. So I am going to write while itr dot has next, means this loop will run until there is some element inside the array list, and itr dot next. So when you run itr dot next, what it will do? It will return all the string object. First Sanjit will be returned, then Susi, Nirmala, Ravi. So it will return the string, means it will return the object. I already told while giving the theory. Next method return object. So you have to typecast to the string, right? So you have to typecast to the string. So let me typecast to the string and catch it on the string as variable. Now you will print this string. So if you will go here, play it, see, I am getting the output, right? That's the one way. There is another way, that's called without generics. Here also you can apply generics. If you write here a string, what is the meaning of this? Means this iterator will only read the string data. I already know the array list have a string data. If you don't write a string, means this array list or this iterator will read any kind of data, object data, string data, number, integer, everything. Okay, so if I'm writing a string, this iterator will only read the string data. So it's only read the string data. So you, the itr dot next will, you're already, you told itr is going to read the string data. So if it read the string data, it only return the string data, not object this time. So you don't need to typecast anymore. Okay, so you just see there is no error right now. So you just need to run this, and this time it will also work, you can see. So the thing is, we always try to use generics. Generics will limit you. Okay, if I'm writing a string, so it means in the array list only a string will be gone. Okay, and if I'm writing string, here I can read only a string from here. Okay, so this way actually the people in the project use generics. So let me take quickly one another example of the collection, and the collection topic almost will be over. That's all the concept in every kind of collection you will use. So let me close this. See, let me take an employee example. We already have an employee class, right? Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create one test class, and this time I will not add string, rather I will add object. So let me create, name it as a test4. And here what I'm going to do, I'm going to create an array list. But which kind of array list, what kind of element is going to hold? Only emp, employee kind of element. So new array list. Okay, fine. I created here mention emp. So what it will do, this array list will only hold employee kind of object. Fine. Okay. What is meaning of that? I am going to create one array list, and inside this array list only employee type of object is allowed. Means it will only hold the employee type of object. Okay, fine. Now let me add some employee objects. So add array list dot add, and here I am going to add the first employee object, new emp. Let me give 111 as the id, and let me give Sanjit is the name of this employee. Okay, same way let me copy and paste three times, this time 222 Susi, 333 Nirmala. Fine, I added three objects. If you have any doubt, you can print array list. You will get the reference, not the output. See, I'm going to get only reference, but I want to fetch these details. How I will fetch that? So it's very easy. So you have one way, I already told. There is something called instance of like this kind of if else you can write, or you can easily do it with the iterator. Simply what I'm going to do, I'm going to create one iterator. But array list give you one method called list iterator, right? Array list will give you one method called list iterator. Okay, so using this list iterator you can do so. So this list iterator method is going to return something called list iterator. Okay, so you can use iterator or list iterator, everything is same. Okay, so list iterator. Okay, and lstr, anything you can do. You can do it by using list iterator, you can do it by iterator. I'm not sure by which I shown you, just maybe I shown you by iterator. Okay, let me do it with iterator. So array list have a method called iterator, and this method iterator is going to return something called iterator. So I'm going to write iterator. Okay, and emp, and let me give name itr. So what it will do, what is the meaning of this? Means I just created one cursor. I just created one cursor here, and the name of the cursor is itr. This cursor is created from this array list. And which method helped to create this cursor? The method which helped to create this cursor was iterator method. So with this iterator method I created one cursor. Just press Ctrl space and add the package. Fine, cursor is ready. Now I have to run the cursor. This cursor will run until unless there is some element inside this. So till this cursor will run. Okay, there is some element inside array list. Now what this cursor will do, this cursor will going to print the things, right? So this cursor is going to print the things. How it will do so? So let's see what I am going to write here inside this particular thing. If let's say I write sys out, okay, and itr dot, okay, you can't see any method, right? There is no such method available. Okay, using itr you can only get the object. Let's see, this kind of things are available. Means simply, let's say if I'm writing itr dot next, itr dot next, what itr dot next will do? First, itr dot has next. Yes, it has something. After that, it will move. After that, it will move and come here. It will come to this location. After that, if I will write itr dot next, this will pop out from this list and it will pass as an object. Means if I will print this itr next, sys out. If I am going to print this itr dot next, what you will see? Let me print it out. So you will see I am just getting the reference of the object, right? Reference means I am getting the hash code. But I don't want hash code. I want the pure object. Means itr dot next I am printing. And what is the value of itr dot next? The hash code, right? Because it's not string, it's hash code. So I want internal data. What this have? It's have eid, ename. I want this kind of thing. How to do that? One thing is for sure, when I am writing itr dot next, it's going to return me object. What I can do, I can do one thing. This iterator is only going to read employee, right? It's only going to read employee, means whatever it's returning, this returning an employee object. This is returning an employee object, right? But the thing is I have to read the data from this employee object, right? I hope this point is sure. Means what I want to say is this itr dot next, what it's doing, this itr dot next is nothing but it returning me the complete object. If I'm printing this, you, I hope you are clear. I'm getting this hash code means I'm getting the complete object, means I'm trying to print this complete object. If you try to print a complete object, it will not give you the boxes. It will not print the boxes inside this. Rather, it's going to print the hash code. It's going to print the hash code. Okay, this will print it. But one thing is sure, this itr dot next is pointing to the object, but inside this variable is there, right? So you can think itr dot next dot, you can see eid is inside there. Okay, plus itr itr dot next has the object, and in the object I have ename. So if you will write like this and I will try to run the code, you will see, okay, there is some exception. So how to fix that? Means if you try to run this code, we are getting exceptions, right? Means that's not the correct output. So how to fix that? Let's come back to the basics. If I'm writing itr dot next, so it's going to return an employee object. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to store this in an employee object. Means it's going to return me this employee object, right? What I'm going to do, I'm just pointing it, let's say, with a e variable, and it's have this whatever this reference is there, it's here. So what is doing, it's simply pointing to this object. Now with this reference variable I can read that. Now I don't think it will give you any exceptions. Let's see. Now what I'm going to write, sysout e dot eid, sysout e dot ename. Now let's run the code. So if you will run the code, you can see I'm getting all the output. Fine. But do you think it's a like useful way to read the data? Means it's not, it's that's a perfectly fine. You can read this, but if you want, you can read in different way. So let me comment it out. Okay. So I commented this line. Now I'm going to show you the second way. You can use the easier way in these situations. So I'm going to write this array list, and I know each element inside the array list is a type of employee, right? Sysout now e dot eid plus e dot ename. If you run this code, you can see I'm getting the same output again. So you can use either of this. You can use iterator, you can use for loop, for each loop. So guys, this is all about the collections. If you are good in that, means you are having a like your base is good. If you are able to understand this, because there are 50 or 60 examples are there. Okay, I understood. I can take 50 to 60 example to make you understand. But what I did is I taken very hardcore type of examples. Okay, I know these examples as a beginner may not be easy to digest. But if you keep on drawing the diagram and try to understand the thing, definitely you will understand. And if you are able to understand this example, whatever three examples I taken, four examples, then guys you will easily understand the collection. Nothing will be there. Array list, you will easily understand the list. Okay, so you understand the list, you have to, if the day you will understand this, for example, you will understand the things. Okay, because these are the one of the hardcore example. Okay, so if you will break this example in small part, possibly you can break the same four programs into, let's say, 15 to 16 programs. Okay, small programs. So this is a very hardcore program I taken, so that you will understand each and every concept over here. So guys, thank you so much for joining this. Okay, so if you have any issue, just let me know. So let's see next of the things, let's say map, hash map in the next class.